It happens to millions. Exactly 7 days after Ramadan ends, your faith crashes. You stop waking up for Fajr, the Quran gathers dust, and the old sins return. Why? Today, we reveal the biological and spiritual trap of the post-Ramadan dip and the exact science to stop it. To understand why you suddenly feel spiritually hollow just a few days after Eid, we have to look directly at the neurochemistry of your brain. During 30 days of fasting, you didn't just restrict food, you starved your brain's reward center. By cutting out daytime eating, idle gossip, and excessive entertainment, you effectively lowered your dopamine baseline. Your dopamine receptors became highly sensitive. That is why a simple glass of water at sunset felt like the greatest blessing in the world, and why standing in night prayer felt genuinely moving. Your brain was calibrated to find joy in subtlety. Then comes the end of the month. Within just 48 hours of the holiday, the average person floods their nervous system with massive spikes of cheap dopamine, heavy, sugar-laden meals, endless hours of social media, binge-watching shows, and a complete lack of sleep boundaries. Neurobiologically, this is a massive shock to the system. Your brain violently downregulates its dopamine receptors to protect itself from the overload. The result? Emotional and spiritual numbness. When you try to read the Quran or stand for prayer a week later, you feel absolutely nothing. You mistakenly believe your Iman, as faith, has disappeared, but in reality, you are experiencing a severe neurological dopamine crash. You have re-anesthetized your spiritual heart, blinding it with the very modern addictions you spent 30 days curing. Beyond the biology, there is a profound spiritual war happening in the background. Islamic theology teaches that during the holy month, the major shayateen, devils, are chained. But the real enemy was never just external. The real enemy is the nafs al-amara, your base ego. For a month, you locked your ego in a cage. You starved it of its desires. But many people treat discipline like a compressed spring. They hold it down with sheer willpower, counting down the days until they can let go. When the month ends, the external devils are unchained, joining forces with an ego that is starving, angry, and desperate for revenge. It doesn't just want to return to normal. It wants to binge to make up for lost time. This is why the sins you commit right after Ramadan often feel more intense and destructive than the ones you committed before it. But what if you didn't have to let the spring explode? What if there was a specific 1,400-year-old psychological and physical protocol designed entirely to decompress the soul safely and lock your new habits into your nervous system permanently? I am going to show you exactly what this prophetic protocol is and how it hacks your neurobiology in just a moment. But first, we need to dismantle the biggest mental trap that destroys 90% of people in the first week. The 7-day trap is heavily rooted in a cognitive distortion known in psychology as all-or-nothing thinking. During the fasting month, you are operating at peak performance. You read 20 pages of the Quran a day, you prayed 20 units of night prayer, and you never missed a congregational prayer. Your brain associated being a good Muslim with this 100% extreme output. Then, reality hits. The holiday ends, work resumes, and school starts. You get tired. One day, you only have time to read one single page of the Quran. Your ego seizes this moment. It whispers, "Look at you. You read 20 pages last week and now only one? You're a hypocrite." It doesn't even count. You might as well stop entirely. And tragically, you listen. You drop the habit completely. This is neurologically disastrous. Science proves that neural pathways in the brain, habits, don't die when you reduce their intensity. They only die through complete inactivity, a process called synaptic pruning. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, brilliantly solved this psychological glitch centuries ago when he said, "The most beloved of deeds to Allah are those that are most consistent, even if they are small." God does not demand your maximum capacity every single day of the year. He demands your istiqamah, your steadfastness. Reading one verse of the Quran a day keeps the neural pathway alive. Praying 2 short units of night prayer keeps the spiritual connection open. Perfectionism is a tool of the devil, used to trick you into abandoning your progress. Now, let's return to the 1,400-year-old protocol designed to prevent the spiritual and biological crash. In modern medicine, when a patient is on a powerful drug, doctors never stop the medication abruptly. Doing so causes violent withdrawal. Instead, they use a method called tapering, slowly stepping down the dosage so the body can adjust to a new normal. Islam has a built-in spiritual tapering system. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, heavily encouraged fasting 6 days in the month of Shawwal, the month immediately following Ramadan. Theoretically, we are told that fasting these 6 days combined with Ramadan is rewarded as if you fasted the entire year. But biologically and psychologically, it serves an immediate rescue function. By voluntarily choosing to fast for 6 more days after the obligation is lifted, you are actively managing your dopamine receptors. You are refusing to let the ego binge. You are proving to your subconscious mind that your self-control was not just tied to a specific month, but is now a permanent character trait. You are safely uncoiling the spring. But fasting these extra days reveals a much harsher truth about the reality of your soul, a truth that dictates whether the last 30 days of your life were actually accepted by the divine, or if they were completely rejected. Let's look at the ultimate metric. Here is the shocking reality that scholars have warned about for centuries. Ramadan was never the destination. It was the training camp. The absolute ultimate sign that your fast, your charity, and your prayers were accepted by God is not how many tears you shed on the 27th night. The sign of acceptance is your state after the month ends. If you spent 30 days building a shield, and on day 31 you immediately burn it down by returning to the exact same major sins you swore to leave behind, it exposes a terrifying hypocrisy. It means you weren't avoiding the sin because you feared the Creator. You were only avoiding the sin because you were observing a cultural event. The 7-day trap is a test of loyalty. God is watching to see who worshiped the month of Ramadan and who worships the Lord of Ramadan. Do not fall into the trap of emptiness. Protect your brain from the dopamine overload. Break the illusion of perfectionism and step your way down gently into the rest of the year. Keep that one small habit alive. Water the seeds you planted, because a small deed done consistently is 1,000 times heavier on the scales than a mountain of deeds abandoned in a week. I want to know about your strategy. What is the one specific micro habit, no matter how small, that you are committing to maintaining every single day for the rest of the year? Write it in the comments to keep yourself accountable, and subscribe to protect your spiritual growth.